and it's about pivoting around them and using numbers against the otherwise better pound for pound medium Galatian infantry. I think Galatia probably has the single best medium infantry lineup in this game. So strong, and they still do have access to naked swordsmen, which I feel they're probably an underused units. Maybe I don't play enough to know that, but I feel 2 or 3 units of naked swords just chilling in your army does a lot.
They're so glass cannon that I think a lot of really high level players don't like them very much. They're a great flanking force. They're very fast, do a great amount of damage on the charge, and if you get them around behind an opponent, you will shred their swords. They're just super susceptible to cavalry charges and super susceptible to skirmish units. So they can often be a waste, and you just kind of end up losing them to like a cavalry charge or a skirmish fight, and they end up not doing much for you. But that doesn't mean that they're not a good unit. They can't be utilized effectively. It's just harder to make them work really well for you, I think.
All right, so I'm gonna go over AggonyDuck's build here, the Boii player. So at the front, he has chosen to go with a sword follower heavy front line. He's actually got 6 of them, I believe. And behind those, he's got 2 units of Oathsworn, some Celtic warriors on the right, 3 of those. He's actually chosen to bring 4 Levy spearmen to this battle.
He has 3 Oathsworn, by the way. He has a general Oathsworn and 2 on the right flank.
Oh yeah. A general Oathsworn at the back. But again, the 4 Levy freemen and then the 4 units of skirmishers, 4 Celtic bowmen. I guess against Galatia, you don't really. Why would you bring these? Like, Galatia has access to Syrian archers. They can outrange you. They can out-skirmish you. Very, very intriguing army choice from Duck, who has chosen to not bring a single cav unit this game.
Yeah, I think, well, one, you don't know, and when someone brings Galatia, you don't know they're going to bring mercenary Syrian archers. A lot of Galatian players would probably decide to just sword rush. I mean, when you can get access to good skirmish units like that, you're generally going to do it. So I think that AggonyDuck probably realized that he was going to bring some. So I honestly don't know why he brought them, because you're right. They have absolutely no chance. 3 against 2, 3 Celtic bowmen against the 2 mercenary Syrian archers.
4.
No,
4
it's
Celtic
4.
bowmen.
Okay, well that's a little different.
Still though, like micro, you can't catch them.
Yeah, no, I mean they will get shredded in the first couple of volleys, but we'll see how this goes. I mean, one thing that I really like from what Panda Warrior is doing that AggonyDuck is not right now is Panda Warrior is spread out completely, and they are basically in one thin line, while AggonyDucks are more compact, and that means that any shots that might have gone over the head of the Syrian archers, when they're shot back, like they're actually, like they won't go over the head as easily. Like when you take a deeper formation, you're more likely to get hit by archer fire. So his formation there actually hurt him a bit, and he lost 30 men, and the Syrian archers actually lost 15. So he lost more there than I thought he would, to be honest. But yeah, just a little bit of skirmishing right now. No real big deal at the moment.
I mean, I think this. I really honestly believe that Galatia would bring these Syrian archers, not because it expects Boii to bring skirmishers of its own, but more because it's kind of a tool that you use to really ward off cav, to maybe stop units from flanking fully without a penalty. And now that he's seen that there's no cav for Boii, and he's seen that really the flanking forces are going to be Celtic warriors and these Levy freemen that were, I think, 4 Levy freemen is like overkill. So he's like, okay, I guess I just trade archer fire with these guys. I kill them, and then I maximize the cost effectiveness of my Syrian archers. He's not even microing them. He's like, okay,
he's still doing a really good job in the skirmish fight. He's shredding these Celtic bowmen.
Yeah, even though they have the woods advantage.
You're right. It's super strange to me that AggonyDuck decided not to bring any heavy horse. They are not going to beat mercenary Cappadocian cavalry or noble horse, which might be why he didn't bring them and just decided to bring a bunch of Levy freemen to plop in his back line and kind of ward off the cavalry that way. But we'll see if that pays off for him. It can often be, even though melee cavalry on this patch isn't amazing, it can absolutely turn battles in your favor when you get them in the flanks and rear of an enemy sword build. So we'll see if that ends up biting him. The noble horse and Cappadocians might have their way in this battle and just kind of rear charge once the main lines engage. So we'll see how that goes. But I do think it's a strange idea for Duck to not bring any heavy horse whatsoever.
Yeah, and again, if we look at the armies here, we can again kind of feel how Galatia is, in my opinion, like the superior sword faction. look at the amount of sword units that Galatia has brought, and if you compare them pound for pound with everything except the 3 units of Oathsworn that Boii has brought, just Galatia has so many more numbers, and then all these tools, like the Syrian archers. You've got some mercenary horse skirmishers here. You've got Cappadocian Cav. Look, he's even snuck 1 unit of Galatian swords behind the Boii line. And you can do this.
Yeah, he
You can do this when you have
absolutely do this.
yeah, like numerical advantage is in your favor. Duck is just gonna pull a Campimus Maximus or Stimius here and just just sit. He's just gonna sit in the forest.
Yeah.
And I guess just try to wither the storm.
Maximus, I understand, and I think a lot of people are probably feeling this way, that the Barbarian Sword Rush meta does kind of get old, and I understand that, but we might actually see, especially if Panda wins this game, we'll be seeing Colchis in Game 3, correct? Is that right? Because that didn't get banned.
Check. Let me double check. So if this game ends with the victory of Panda Warrior,
And it goes to Game 3.
who used he used Rome, and he used Galatia now. He had Tylus banned, so it's gonna be down to Colchis, and it's gonna be down to Boii for Panda Warrior.
Wow, so that will be an interesting matchup, and we will get to see what many would consider probably not a particularly high-tier faction. Colchis versus Boii, that'd be very interesting. Colchis would have the map pick, correct? Or would it be... Because that would change everything.
Yes, Panda would have no. It would the map pick goes back to Duck, who actually has he has a choice between Galatia and check this out, Armenia. So we could see another skirmish style coming out. I'm pretty sure Armenia is not as comfortable against Colchis as it would be against something like Boii, but it still can do damage, I believe. But going back to this game, you can see that Duck has apparently now chosen to withdraw out of this forest. Yeah, he just fell out. I guess Panda was like, okay, you want to stay here? I'm just gonna pull units out and just do this. And now Duck is forced to keep running back, but I wonder what's going through Duck's head at this point. What is he thinking to himself? He obviously probably realizes that his build is probably a little bit on the weak side.
I don't think it's weak. I think it's very strong if it enters melee combat without the heavy horse doing a lot of damage to him. I think it's very strange that he relinquished that wood and which allows the Galatian raiders to start, or the mercenary horse skirmishers to start doing damage as he runs away. And of course, infantry out on the open plain is much more susceptible to cavalry than they would be in the woods. So from that standpoint, I think that decision was a little strange. I'm not sure why he left the woods, but he isn't really getting punished super hard for it. Looks like one of the Galatian swords is going to engage some Celtic warriors out on the flank, and they will get beaten to hell pretty soon.
Oh, look at this clumping here from Duck. This is not good at all.
Well, the thing is, though, the noble horse can't charge their own men to do a ton of damage to the Celtic warriors, so he'll have to wait till that, routes. Levy Freeman actually didn't protect the flank of these Celtic warriors, and the Galatian swords are going to engage, so that wasn't the best engagement. But if he pulls out in time, which it looks like he's going to, wow, they routed just in time. That was lucky.
Yeah.
Or just fantastic play from Duck if he knew that was going to happen. I don't know.
Oh, look at this. Levy Freeman getting engaged here. Free win for these units of Galatian swords. Like, look, they don't even dent the Galatian swords.
Yeah, it's
at
just a cheap. It doesn't really. It's just a throw unit to tie him down. So that's not really a big deal. If he retreats to the hills here though and gets up here, then I'm sure Panda wouldn't want to engage that. But lots of engagements here. One of the mercenary horse skirmishers.
Yeah, it got into the Celtic bowman. Yeah, it got into the Celtic bowman. It did a few kills, but then it died off.
Left flank noble horse tried to do some damage to the sword followers, but that charge
look what's
isn't gonna be
happening. Look what's happening. Look what's happening. There is an isolated group of units from Galatia here, from Panda Warrior, and if Duck capitalizes on this before the other units support, he could turn it around in terms of the numerical advantage.
Duck is engaging his Celtic warriors are getting shredded by Galatian legionnaires, but he has decided to.
This distance is huge, and any units that lose out in this line here, you can plug them in as Duck. You can plug them in here.
Yeah, but
so I think what we saw is Duck was in this forest. He was facing up a longer line. He fell back in this manner here, and he forced this line to kind of squeeze its way around. So he effectively made the lines appear even though Panda Warrior's line was much bigger. And you can see the edges of the line now trailing around here, but they're going to need to cover some huge distance, and there is a hill for Duck to fall
and
back
he's
on.
retreating
So
up
maybe,
it, so we'll see if Panda chases him. I don't think he's going to want to. Of course he's not going to want to. Downhill charges from sword followers with a 27 charge bonus. Pretty devastating, and that is a big hill. So, and this will prevent a lot of the cavalry from doing a lot of damage. What I'd like to see him do, honestly, is bring the noble, and he's going to do it now, yep. He's going to bring the noble horse up and get a massive downhill charge, and if he gets a downhill charge with the noble horse from that hill, that would be devastating to any unit that it hit. What I like seeing Duck doing right now is he engaged his Celtic warriors and some of his sword followers. He's going to disengage when the Galatian legionnaires are in shield wall, which is so smart. That is such high level play right there. When you see an enemy sword unit go into shield wall and you realize that you can get a good charge bonus when you disengage, he's going to pull out.
Charges.
Noble horse coming down straight into the sword followers.
No brace.
Great charge. Oh my god. He's going to pull all the way through, and they're still at full strength. We'll see how much damage that did. He didn't stay in melee for very long. Actually, they're not dropping much. They actually lost 0 men on the charge.
They lost 0 men on the charge, and he killed 2 men too. There's a little bit of lag in this game.
It's frozen. Though. Hopefully no one's dropping. Continuing right now. No drops yet, but definitely some lag. Yeah, he didn't kill any on that downhill charge. I'm sure it did a ton of HP damage, but that was interesting. I would have expected it to do more than that. But you know what? He has nothing preventing him from going around, getting up on that hill again, and doing it again. He can just keep doing it, like, and it will.
Well, there's one Levy Freeman up there on that hill that has kind of poised itself to maybe prevent that in the future.
Yeah, if he gets it down, right there.
I feel like Panda Warrior had to do that. He saw the Levy Freeman, and he was like, okay, maybe I can do one charge and try to pull through and get my unit, get that unit hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I think he should have stayed in melee a little bit longer because they have 51 melee attack. Like, they would have destroyed that sword follower, but...
Look at all these units from Panda Warrior doing absolutely nothing.
Well, I mean, there's a ton from Duck now. He hasn't engaged that part of his line either. Like, he's winning the melee engagement in the center here.
Totally,
and now he can commit, And he's bringing the noble horse back around.
He can keep these units. Like, look, these units are closer to this fight than these units were.
Oh, he's going to just route that Levy Freeman off the field with this Cappadocian charge. And he's going to get noble horse in. We'll see if they get the charge bonus. They are going to get the charge bonus. Good charge, and then this Levy Freeman should just die if it gets a good charge.
Levy Freeman.
He's going to pull out that engagement. Yeah, they were running away, so that kind of neglected the charge. But in the center here, sword followers engaged with the Galatian legionnaires. Galatian legionnaires should win that fight, and they are doing so not handily, but they're javelins being thrown by Galatian legionnaires behind, and they're ready to engage. He does have a mercenary Cappadocian cavalry doing nothing. He needs to get that under control, but I would say that Galatia definitely has the advantage right now. And the fact that Duck didn't bring any cavalry is definitely hurting him. These repeated hammer and anvils are going to take their toll and start turning this fight in his favor, I think.
Here they come. They're going to come across the hill. They're going to come over across the hill, and they're going to now start attacking units that are a little bit isolated. You can see this one unit of Oathsworn from AggonyDuck. I think it's very smart to put Oathsworn on the edge of your line by Duck here. Like, his 3 Oathsworn units are on the edge of the line. They are units that can take, as you said earlier, they have high armor values, high hit points. They can take hammer and anvil charges and kind of shrug it off, really, especially from units like Noble Horse and Cappadocian Cap that don't really have the best of charges, as we saw earlier. So these Oathsworns are going to be the pivots of his line on his right flank. All he needs to do now is kind of try to do some crowd control on this side, maybe get some surround. He's got lots of units just kind of sitting here, maybe waiting for holes to appear in the line.
He's waiting for charge bonuses.
Here he is.
Yeah, Duck's waiting for charge bonuses, but here Noble Horse come. If they don't get hit by, they're going to get hit by the Levy Freeman. Charge is going to stop completely, I think. Oh no, they continued. Wow, that was huge. That was a huge charge into sword followers. They got destroyed right there.
And he's going to just pull through right there.
And into the back of the sword followers, and they're engaged and in yellow morale already. He's going to pop his general abilities. This is pretty much over, I think, for Boii. He's completely surrounded. I don't think he has the tools to deal with it. And there's another mercenary Cappadocian Cap at full strength coming around. And this time he's not going to have a spear to block it at all. So I think this is definitely Panda Warrior's game.
Oh, he changes directions in the last minute, and he's going to hit this Oathsworn. But the Oathsworn is probably going to tank that charge.
Yeah, they're going to tank it, but they're engaged now, and that's going to give the Syrian archers time to shoot into their flanks. And in the middle here, Galatian Legionnaires versus Oathsworn. Headhunt was popped, and so was Battle Rhythm, so he should pop second wind relatively soon here. Get them back to fresh if he hasn't used it already. But it doesn't really matter. Cappadocian Cavalry charge coming in from the rear. That's going to do so much damage, and they're down to half strength, and it's going to drop after that.
It's gonna
This
be
battle's
1-1,
over.
guys.
Yep.
We're gonna move into round 3. Like, I think Duck really tried his best. I honestly felt that his build, his army selection, it was just not. It was not going to be enough to deal with this Galatian build played properly by Panda Warrior. Panda Warrior had 4 units of cav, and he used them so well, especially the ones that were used here on this hill. And while falling back out of this forest at the beginning seemed like a questionable decision, I think Duck did have a better chance here, but I would have liked him kind of step a little bit higher on that hill. Maybe prevent those cav from getting those huge charges. Like, they were hitting 2-3 units at a time, knocking them on the ground and marching right through, charging through them, and hitting more backlines of engaged Boii units.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is, like, it was definitely the cavalry, I think, that won the battle here for Panda, and the lack of cavalry for AggonyDuck. I think that was a huge issue for him. But what you see with melee cavalry in general when they're charging in, like, they don't have a huge charge bonus. So on the first charge, like we saw with that sword follower, when it got charged downhill, yeah, it doesn't kill a lot of people. And we saw them all get knocked down. And you're like, oh, they didn't lose any men on the charge. What's the problem there? But HP is a big thing in Rome too, and the sword followers actually had a or they have decent armor and HP, so like you won't see them drop from the melee cav charge right away. As the engagement progresses, though, they're going to start dropping really, really quickly, and we saw that as the engagement continued on. It became a real problem with those sword followers taking those cavalry charges. Now, I don't know how much ammo they have left. They run out of ammo very quickly. They don't have very many shots. I believe they only have 7 volleys. Yeah, they only have 7 ammunition, so
Yep,
he's already used a
7
decent
ammunition.
amount of that so far.
And, I mean, really, if you think about the cav from Panda Warrior's perspective, like, they're not... 4 units of Equites and Soki Equites are not really going to be able to trade cost effectively with 3 units of Raiding Horse.
No.
I think Panda Warrior would have